Okay, so the NBA Finals is set. The 3-seeded Milwaukee Bucks are going to be taking on the 2-seeded Phoenix Suns. And in this video, I'm just going to be, I'm going to be previewing the NBA Finals. So, I'm going to compare the two teams, talk their X factors. I'm going to do my predictions. And I'm going to just be talking about the NBA Finals just in general before it happens. First of all, shout out to the Clippers and the Hawks. The Hawks they had a great run. Nobody saw this coming. Beating the 1-seed Sixers and then losing to the Bucks in 6 games. They played really good this year. And then the Clippers for taking the Suns to 6 games and without Kawhi. So shout out to these two teams. But these are the real teams. These are the real deal. The Milwaukee Bucks are going to be taking on the Phoenix Suns. It's crazy that the NBA season's almost over. But yeah, first of all, we're going to compare the two teams. So, starting off with the point guard position, we have Chris Paul versus Jrue Holiday. And I think we know who's better. It's Chris Paul. Jrue Holiday is a great defender. He's kind of just an all-around guy, great at everything. He excels in his defense and his playmaking. He's going to be the X factor of the Milwaukee Bucks to determine if he can clamp up Chris Paul or even if he gets put on Devin Booker. If he can clamp up those guys, yeah. Shooting guard, we have Bryn Forbes versus Devin Booker. Devin Booker, I don't even have to say anything. Bryn Forbes, a knockdown shooter, but then Devin Booker is just Devin Booker. So it's 2-0 for the Suns. Mikal Bridges versus Chris Middleton. Mikal Bridges, another great defender. The Suns defensively are so good, but Chris Middleton, he's been showing this playoff run that this max contract that he got, he definitely deserves that. Chris Middleton's taking the edge over Mikal Bridges. Chris Middleton's just that shooter that the Bucks need, and they have him. So Chris Middleton over Mikal Bridges. Jay Crowder or Giannis. I'm going Jay Crowder with this. It's really not that much of a competition. Jay Crowder's obviously better than Giannis. And center, we have DeAndre Ayton versus Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez had that game the other night where he dropped 33 points. But overall, I would say DeAndre Ayton's better. He clamped up Anthony Davis in round 1. He didn't really clamp up Jokic because Jokic still played great, but DeAndre Ayton defensively has been amazing this year. Especially this playoffs. He's that guy now. He went from that role player to the guy that can go off one night, get 20 plus rebounds, 20 plus points, get 5 or 6 blocks, and lock down your best big man. So DeAndre Ayton, I would give the edge over Brook Lopez. Yeah. And Milwaukee's kind of funny. So first we'll go the bench. The bench, I don't know who I would give this to. Both their benches are okay, but I would give it to the Suns. Cam Johnson, Dario Saric, Cameron Payne has had his nights without Chris Paul. The Bucks bench, they have Bobby Portis, who's been great. They have they have PJ Tucker. But I would just give this bench to the Suns. Cameron Payne's proving that can play backup point guard, and he's not just there. And then coaches Monty Williams over Mike Budenholzer. I think it's just Monty Williams has been the best coach this year. I think he should have won Coach of the Year. I'm pretty sure Tom Thibodeau won it. Now I'm going to talk about each of them separately. So we'll start off with the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks are funny. So Giannis won the MVP in 2019, and everyone says, okay, now the Bucks are going to win the title. And then they lose to the Raptors in the conference finals. 2020 comes around, he wins MVP again. Everyone thinks, oh wow, Milwaukee's going to win the title this year. And then they don't lose. They lose in the second round to the Heat. And now this year, everyone thinks, okay, Milwaukee's not winning it this year. They never win. And now they're in the finals potentially winning this. But yeah, Giannis signed a 5-year extension. He's already defeated the Brooklyn Nets, and he swept the last year's finalist Heat. He not single-handedly. Jrue Holiday's played great for them. It's a great he was a great piece in exchange for just Eric Bledsoe. And then you have Chris Middleton, who's had his nights. So it's not just Giannis, but Giannis is still the best player on the team. And he defeated the Super Team Nets in Game 7. And then the Hawks, Trae Young went down, but so did he, and the Bucks still managed to beat him in 6. So the Bucks have proven that they can win without Giannis. Now moving on to the Suns. The Suns this playoffs have by far been the best team. Yes, you can make excuses saying they've had injuries, and I'll agree they have, but that's just an excuse. There's an injury every playoff. So last year was Bam Adebayo and Goran Dragic. They were suffering injuries in the finals, and that's why Lakers won. With the Raptors year, Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant went down, so it was just the Raptors versus Steph Curry. And you can go back and find an injury every year, but that's just how basketball is. So yes, the Suns might have had a little easier route because they had the Lakers without Anthony Davis, but if you're out there thinking LeBron's the GOAT, then he should have still been able to beat the Suns team by himself if he's so good. So yes, that could be one, no Anthony Davis, but even when he was playing, DeAndre Ayton was he was outplaying him that series. It's so weird to say. Second round, the Nuggets. We know the Nuggets. No Jamal Murray. That was a pretty easy series for the Suns. And then the conference finals, the Clippers. No Kawhi. So if you do look at it, the Suns did have a pretty easy route. But then same thing with Milwaukee. The Heat were pretty well healthy. The Nets, they didn't have Harden for a bit. And they didn't have Kyrie for most of the series. And the Hawks, no Trae Young, but there was no Giannis, so that cancels out. But the Suns, like Chris Paul, he dealt with sitting out with protocols, lots of injuries in round 1. But yeah, the Suns have been the best team by far this playoffs. They've shown chemistry, defense, offense. And yeah, so X Factors, I already said for the Bucks was Jrue Holiday. If he can clamp up Chris Paul, that would be huge for them. You limit Chris Paul to 5 to 10 points, and then it's just the whole Bucks team versus like Booker and Ayton. So Jrue Holiday, his defense is going to be the X factor. They don't need scoring. They have Giannis in the paint, and they have Chris Middleton open for 3. They need more of a playmaker and defender, and that's what Jrue Holiday is. He needs to clamp up Chris Paul, and he needs to make the right plays. And for the Phoenix Suns, the X factor is DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton, still not better than Doncic or Trae Young, but now he's not considered a bust anymore. He's not the best player in the draft class, but he's not a bust anymore. Like, people were thinking he's a bust. I didn't really like DeAndre Ayton before, but now he's playing better. I don't know how I feel about him now, but I mean, especially in the conference finals, he has been not the best player, but he's been very good for the Phoenix Suns. Devin Booker and Chris Paul. Devin Booker has been an elite scorer this playoffs, and Chris Paul has shown his ability to score. So X factors, Jrue Holiday and DeAndre Ayton for both sides. And both of these teams, I don't think they've ever won a ring. I know Phoenix hasn't. Maybe Milwaukee might have won one with Kareem. But nonetheless, these are both small market teams, and this is going to be such a good finals. In my opinion, this is better than the Heat and the Lakers. And if I wasn't and it's better than the Warriors and the Raptors finals. But I am a Raptors fan, and I'm not going to admit that. But if I wasn't, I would admit that this one's a better finals. And the Warriors and Cavs, that's going a little too far. I think that those finals were a little better. But yeah, now we recapped everything. That we've talked about how the Suns are obviously been the best team this playoffs. And now we're going to do my predictions. So, I'm really leaning towards how Jrue Holiday plays. I feel like Milwaukee can legitimately win this if Jrue Holiday can clamp up Chris Paul. But we see how shifty Chris Paul is, and even if he can't score, you know he'll find ways to pass to Jay Crowder, Devin Booker, throw lobs to Ayton, Mikal Bridges, like whoever. oh man, this is tough who I would give it to. I think I would give this to the Suns in 7. This is going to be a very close finals. Like, because these are like two teams. Like, the Suns are still, they're still very inexperienced. Other than Chris Paul, like Jay Crowder, yes, he has had finals experience being in the finals last year. But Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, two very young guys. Same with Mikal Bridges. And their bench, fairly young. Cam Johnson, Cameron Payne, I guess. Would he say he's young? I don't really know his age. But still, they've shown that they can beat LeBron and the Lakers, Jokic and the Nuggets, and the Clippers. The Bucks, though, what makes me want to choose the Bucks is the fact that they beat the Nets. And the way they've played with, you know what? I'm changing it. I'm going with the Bucks in 7 games. Bucks or Suns in 7. It's going to be one of them. But I would have to go with the Bucks in 7. An upset. I was rooting for Phoenix all playoffs. I said that at the beginning of my playoff predictions. I want Phoenix to win. And this can go either way. It's going to be Game 7 for sure. But I think Milwaukee might have the edge. It'll be in Phoenix in Game 7. I don't know. Very, very tough. It's kind of really tough. But I don't think there's anything else to talk about. Maybe injuries. Chris Paul, he could get injured. You never know. Giannis, if he can carry Milwaukee to a title, that's great. Like, everyone's hating on him for not having a ring, but Michael Jordan didn't have a ring at this age. And Giannis is proving that he can destroy super teams. Like, he's proving you don't need a super team to win. He defeated the Brooklyn Nets. Because when LeBron went to the Heat, that was a super team. Everyone thought, oh, no one can beat him. And then Dirk Nowitzki came and defeated him. So this is kind of similar. They beat the super team Nets. And I think that Milwaukee is going to go all the way and win the title. Now, I'm just saying I did terrible in my original playoff predictions. I thought Utah and Phoenix, or Utah and Philly. But, yeah. So there you have it. I think Phoenix is the better team overall, but I just think in this scenario with Jrue Holiday, who's a big upgrade from Eric Bledsoe, he'll clamp up Chris Paul, and Milwaukee will have it from there. Chris Middleton has shown that he's an extremely great player. Like the other day, Jrue Holiday had 25, Chris Middleton had 28, Bobby Portis had 25 or something, and Brook Lopez had thing. So the Bucks are deep. I know I've been talking good about the Suns all game, but in the end, it could go any way, but I'm giving it to the Milwaukee Bucks. That's going to wrap up my video, guys. I'm going to recap this series once it's over. I can't believe the NBA season's over in like 2 weeks max. But that's going to wrap up my video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.